If you've made it to Rider 5, you are definitely a rider and no longer just a passenger on a horse. There are several new skills to learn in this rider level. They require feel and timing. This means you must feel what's happening underneath you and time your aids so that the horse feels them at the perfect time for the horse to respond correctly. Always remember, these skills are presented in a progression. If you are having trouble, go back to the previous level, see what the skill was at that level, work some more on it, and then come back to this level.
We think that it's important at this time to just run a quick review of all of the rein effects. We're going to start with the inside hand, and the very first purpose you used it for was to open the door and bring that horse's nose around. Notice her hand is way far away from the horse's side, and she's slightly pulling his nose in that direction. Once we get past that stage, that rein becomes a direct rein. So the hand then comes back either towards the rider's hip or up towards their shoulder. It no longer is away from the horse, the rein is quite close to the neck. And here she's using it to bring the horse's nose towards the point of his shoulder. Then she can use that same rein with the help of her outside hand to create a rein of opposition. She's using her right hand, she's pulling slightly back on the outside support rein, and she's using her right leg to push the horse's shoulder to the outside. So it's called a rein of opposition again because she's pulling on the right rein and moving the horse's shoulders to the left. We now want to review the outside hand aids. Here we have the rider creating bend with her inside direct rein and her inside leg, but the outside rein is supporting. That is, she's keeping the horse in the correct shape. It's not letting the horse turn its head too much to the inside, and it's asking the horse to bring its chin towards its chest. The second use of the outside hand is indirect rein. This again is the lead up to the neck rein. On every corner now, she will ask by putting pressure on her outside hand just gently on the neck, and by using her outside leg and no inside leg, the horse should move away from that pressure. If the horse does not give its eye and head to the inside, she may have to correct with her inside hand. Okay? The last thing that we use that outside hand for is neck rein. So that's when we put the reins in one hand. The total aid is coming from the outside rein. The horse goes forward. When she wants to turn, she'll push down on her inside stirrup and place the rein gently against the horse's neck. If she were an English rider, she would be supporting the horse a little bit with the inside leg and not just pushing down. But it's basically the same idea. Those horses need to get off the leg. The English rider will never go to one hand, but they do use that indirect rein and move the horse off of the outside rein. For our flexion warm-up for rider level 5, our goal in the end is to be able to have our riders ride a nice soft circle like this, flexing the horse from 12 to 11 to 10 to 9. Then slowly back the other way and all the way to 3 o'clock, to 2 o'clock, to 1 o'clock, and at the final stage to 12 o'clock, because this is the hardest one to get. Notice how the rider has lifted her hands and she's bumping with her legs to drive the horse up into collection. By rider level 5, we have practiced riding without stirrups for some time now. So at this level, the rider should be very comfortable at riding at the walk, at the sitting trot or jog, and at the canter without hanging on with the legs. Heels should be down, nice and soft and relaxed. And they should also be able to rise trot and find the correct diagonal. The next aspect that we're going to look at is called a shoulder in. This is another exercise to produce more balance and collection in our horses. It's very common with English riders, not so much with Western, but even so, both types of riders should be able to produce it. What is a shoulder in? It's when the horse is moving forward down the track, so we assume the fence is on this side, you're going to see the horse's legs coming at you like this. All right, this hind leg behind this front leg, and likewise. When the rider applies an inside direct rein, or perhaps a little bit of rein of opposition, but for sure a direct rein, support rein here, active leg here to keep the horse going, and what should happen is that horse should actually bend a little bit, and what we're going to see if we look at it from the point of view you're looking at me now is a 3-track movement. So now we have 2 tracks, track 1, track 2. When the horse is doing the shoulder in, we will see 3 tracks because the shoulders will move towards the inside of the arena. Now we have track 1, track 2, track 3. At the advanced stage, it will become even a 4-track movement, so there will be more bend. But in the beginning, you have to look either from directly in front or directly behind the horse and see those 3 tracks. Obviously, in the early stages, we're going to get lots of squiggle, wiggle, too much bend, not enough bend, all of that. But this is part of learning. The rider's riding forward, driving the horse up from behind. He's bending her a little bit with his inside leg and rein and supporting with the outside rein. The outside leg is keeping her going forward, and as he comes towards us, he'll now ask her to bend just that little bit more. Good job. Often, at the earlier rider levels, we see horses jogging or trotting that are making absolutely no effort to drive their hind legs up under them. Their noses are stuck out and they are very uncollected. Here we're going to see the rider slowly apply her legs to the horse to lift his midsection. Notice how now he's reaching up much farther with his hind legs, and notice by supporting with her hands how she's brought his head and jaw into a more appropriate position. The next exercise that we are going to work on is called a half halt. A half halt is done to rebalance the horse. So if you're riding along and you feel that your horse is getting a little heavy in the front, or it's pulling on the reins, or it's just not working balanced, then what the rider is going to do is they're going to apply their legs, drive the horse's hind feet up, support with their hands for 1 or 2 strides, and then release again. We're ready to try it again. So she's going to put her legs on the horse, support with both hands, drive the horse up, and rebalance. And let her go again. So you should not only be noticing what the rider's doing with her legs and her hands, notice what the horse is doing. As she comes around here, we're going to watch her one more time. The rider's going to do it right now. And look at the horse. Notice how she gets her hind legs further under, she gives to the bit, and she lifts up a little bit in the front end. And that's the purpose for doing a half halt.
Western riders do exactly the same thing, and it is called a check rein. It means bringing your horse back when he gets too much weight on the front end and asking him to rebalance.
To produce a straight spine leg yield, we have to do something different with our hands. When we first asked the horse to do it, in the simpler stages, we used a rein of opposition on the left hand. Now notice that both hands are support reins. She's just keeping the horse straight. She's still using her left leg, and the right leg tells the horse to continue forward.
Our rider should be able to do side passes. The elementary one, as you see here, where the rider is bending the horse slightly towards her active leg. They should also be able to do the intermediate stage, in which they keep the horse's head and neck straight with two direct reins and ask the horse to move over using their seat and their leg as an aid. The horse should still cross both its front and hind legs.
By the time we get to rider 5, we've already been introduced to the figure 8. By now, we should be able to show speed variation. So we should be able to do larger, faster circles and still maintain control. And we should be able to see that the rider can slow the horse down and calmly prepare the horse to do the lead change. We need to teach our riders to do a straight line lead change. Make sure this is not close to the fence because they'll automatically pull up on the rein of the new direction. Notice how she came in here, watch her left hand, and it just asks very quietly, and so the horse's head stays at 12 o'clock. Our rider should be able to put together the lope or canter and the change. It doesn't have to be as slow as this, but it definitely has to be controlled on that change. Notice how many trot steps she takes on each side of the cone. It should be even. We've already introduced an advanced turn on the forehand to you. Notice how this rider is riding forward with the horse bent around her inside leg. In a moment, she's going to hesitate the horse, start to apply her outside leg, and his haunches will move while he maintains the band around her right leg. Here he comes around, and notice he's moving off her outside leg. He may show a little bit of resistance because this is a very difficult and unnatural position for the horse, but an absolutely necessary one if she's going to go on to flying changes. Notice how she has the horse bent around her inside leg. The inside rein can be direct or rein of opposition. The inside leg is keeping the band. The outside rein is supporting, and the outside leg is pushing his haunches a little bit to the inside. Because we need your horse to be more flexible, more athletic, more collected, as she comes around the circle this time, she is pushing the haunches to the outside. She's created bend with her left leg and her left rein, and her right leg is scissored back, and she's pushing the horse's hips to the outside as she goes forward. Once we've practiced that haunches in and out exercise, we're ready to try a haunches in to lope transition. We gather the horse, push him forward. When he's soft, we push his haunch in, and then we just allow him to fall forward into the lope. We're going to use the aids of bend around the inside leg, support with the outside rein, keep the bend with the inside leg, push the haunches over, ask for the lope, and when it's produced, we just ride on. This exercise certainly takes some coordination between the horse and the rider. You can't just sit back and pull on the reins. You have to use your legs in either squeezing motion, as English riders do to tell the horse to stop, or pushing down on the heels as Western riders do. We want to see that stop smooth and balanced. So here we see the rider putting together a nice canter with bend. As she goes into the stop, we're going to see her balance with her hands, not pull, and wait for the horse to stop, and hesitate, then shape him for the lead by pushing his hip a little bit. Now the last time, he trotted a little bit into the transition. We're going to watch her this time and see if he can go right to the halt with no trotting steps. Okay, he trotted again, so she's going to back him up just to tell him that he has to make a little bit more effort to make that stop happen. And she will now push his haunches, get him in the right shape. And around she goes. The more collected your horse is, he can be going faster than this, but he needs to be collected. Driving up with those hind legs. There's no way he can stop in balance if his hind legs are way out behind him. There. We introduced you to turn on the haunches, and we got you with great effort to move a little bit. Now, we're going to ask you to get a few more crossovers, and you and your horse should be in much more harmony than you were at the last rider level. So as you see, this rider is making the horse go forward in a nice circle, creating bend around that inside leg, and then she's slowly adding her outside leg and asking the horse to cross its legs 3 or 4 times, and then she's going right forward into the circle again. We never try to force the horse. If we start getting really strong with our outside leg and our outside rein, the only thing that's going to happen is the horse is going to turn its head to the outside, and it's going to arc its body away from the rider's outside leg, which will put it totally in the wrong bend to do this exercise. So again, the stages are: walk forward in at least 1/2 of a circle. Create bend. Once the bend is there, push on your inside stirrup, start to bring the nose and push the shoulder. exactly is Rider 6 all about? This is the finesse level. We finally, after hours of practice, are able to get our horses to move whatever part it is we need to move, and to have them do it softly and with no resistance, because we have learned to communicate with them and give the aids properly. This takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. Now we just have to think about what we want to do, and it automatically happens. What a horseman this 4-H member has become if they've achieved the skill level required to do Rider 6. They can now go on and enter a competitive level at whatever it is they want to do, whether it be jumping, dressage, reining, barrel racing, other gymkhana events, chasing cows, or the show scene. Or they might just want to have a very nice horse to ride, one that all of us would enjoy owning. Your rider should be able to now bend and flex with very soft aids. Notice the inside direct rein, notice the support rein, notice how he's giving to her inside leg. Our English riders also need to do this exercise. First, they must drive the horse up and have impulsion. Then they need to create the band. Then, notice how softly she changes band. So once we've mastered this at the jog and trot, we then need to work at it at the lope. Here we see the horse going forward, banding off the inside side, nice soft rein,